Hey guys, I'm going to now guide you how to create your own Roy G. Biv color wheel. It's almost like a map and how you can learn how to mix and match colors. We'll be able to create warm color schemes and cool color schemes that match. It'll be your choice. Now, this is how the video is going to work. You're going to watch me model first. So you're going to watch what I do. Then you're going to work with me. We'll all do it together with the video. Okay, first things first, I'm going to use a pencil to go ahead and label that scrap piece of paper, Roy G. Biv color wheel. Your turn. Go ahead and do that now. Roy G. Biv color wheel. Okay. Now, I'm going to create the wheel, the circle, with my R-O-Y. We know that stands for red, orange, yellow. Your turn. Use your pencil. Label R-O-Y. Good. And then you can see I'm finishing up my circle with G-B-V. I'm not putting indigo in here because I just want to focus on red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Make sure that you have a circle and you're there. Today we're using a watercolor medium, and there's actually a wrong way to use watercolor and a right way to use watercolor. So the right way is you're actually painting with the water and not the pigment. The wrong way is scooping out that goopy pigment and trying to paint with that. Don't do that. We're going to make our color wheel now using watercolor. Remember, watch me first and then do what I do. All right, so first things first. Notice how my brush is pointed. No bad hair days. If you squish your brush, you're doing it wrong. So see how I'm just dipping my brush in the water, keeping it pointed? No tapping. That'll be way too wet. So you just kind of scrape the excess water on the side. So let's go ahead and pick up those brushes. Work with me now. I want you to load that brush with water just by dipping, scrape any excess. So you dip, you scrape. You dip, you scrape. Show me how we do it. Dip and scrape. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're loading our brush with water and we're activating those palettes. The palettes are the little pigments. So no scraping, remember. I just kind of make a little puddle in that palette. Then, as always, if I'm filling something in, I edge around a shape and then fill it in. Work with me, my friends. Load your brush, make a little puddle, activate that paint palette. Don't you scoop. And then paint your red. Perfect. Okay, now watch me. I'm going to clean out my brush because I do not want to pollute my palette. That's going to mess up my colors and it'll just be a hot mess. We don't need that. So load your brush. Watch me. Next is, you guessed it, orange. So I'm going to activate that palette by adding some water, maybe a little bit more. And then the correct way to paint. As we know, I'm struggling here. Edge around that circle first and then fill it in with orange. Okay, your turn. Work with me now. So you have a wet brush. Activate that palette. Do not scoop out that paint. No, no, no. We're painting with the water, not the pigment. Cool. And then let that color, that pigment just kind of flow around. All right. I'm washing out my brush first. Watch me. I'm activating that yellow palette next because R-O-Y, Y comes next, yellow. Activate that palette. Use the tip of the brush, no bad hair days. Edge and then fill. Work with me now. Nice clean brush, lots of water. Activate that palette. No polluting that palette. You go in with the clean water. And then you just fill in the yellow. Cool. Watch me. See, I'm cleaning out my brush. I won't pollute my palette. And then what comes next? Y'all tell me what comes next? Yep, you're right. Green. So no scooping. I just activate that palette by getting it wet. Make a little puddle, not much. And same thing. You edge, you fill. You edge, you fill. Join with me. Load that brush. Activate that green palette. And then paint your green. Notice how I'm not letting my colors touch. We'll do that later. All right, y'all. What's next? Roy G. B. It's blue. So I'm going to activate the palette. edge, then fill. Always edge, then fill. It's the easiest way to paint. Clean out that brush. Do not pollute that color. Let's go in with the blue. Work with me now. Work with me now. We're working with the blue. You guys got that? You got to go quick with watercolor. Now I'm going to violet. Watch me. Watch me. Edge. Fill. Your turn. Get that violet. Edge. And then fill. Awesome. Okay, watch me first. What am I doing? What am I doing, class? Everybody tell me. That's right. I'm cleaning my brush. I clean and then I scrape off any excess water. Dip, dip, dip. Scrape, scrape, scrape. That's how we do it. All right, folks, please set down your brushes on the paper towels. That'll keep you clean. Pick up your pencils and please watch me first. So we're gonna read this color wheel. One way to read it is actually dividing the color wheel in half. Watch how I draw a diagonal line separating the red, orange, yellow from the green, blue, violet. Go ahead and draw with me. So separate the ROY from the G, B, V. This divides your colors into colors that mix and match well. First, we have the warm colors. Go ahead and label those ROY colors warm like fire. And then label the green, blue, violet colors cool because they remind us of water. All right, scholars, time to make a choice. Which color scheme do you find most aesthetically pleasing to you? Aesthetics means appreciation of beauty. Are you drawn to the bright, warm colors? Or do you like the cool, relaxing, cool colors? What I want you to do now is tell your shoulder partner which color scheme you're going to use. Go. All right, let's come back together. Make sure you're to zone 0, please, in 3, 2, 1. We're going to now go to our still life and do something called a wet on wet technique. Watch me first. So I'm going to first edge around my subject matter in the background with just water. Go and pick up your brushes and do that with me. So I'm going to edge around my subject matter and then I'm just going to fill it in with water. You should be painting with me now. Just with water, actually. We want a nice wet base on our paper. All right, so go ahead, please stop what you're doing and track the screen. Okay, so I'm gonna do cool colors, so I'm gonna start with blue, but if you are using warm colors, start with yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally drop that watercolor paint around the edges. Just drop, you don't have to use that many brush strokes. Just drop some color in that area. Go ahead and join in with me. Load your brush up with water, and let's drop in either blue or yellow. We're just working in the corner. Dropping in a little blue, dropping in a little yellow. All right, go ahead and watch me first. I've cleaned out my brush. I'm going to activate my green next. And then I'm just going to drop in some green. Watch first. Drop in some green and let it bleed. Look how it's blending together because the wet is blending with the wet. You guys go ahead and join me now. You should be either using green or orange. Awesome. Just let it bleed. Let those colors bleed together. That's the cool thing about the wet on wet technique. All right, take a break. Watch me. I have a clean brush. I'm going to activate my violet next. You can activate red if you're there. And then I'm just going to drop in some violet. Check it out. Drop it in, let it bleed. Drop it in, let it bleed. Now, a couple things are happening. That wax is resisting, those wax patterns are resisting the watercolor. Very cool. Edge out, then fill in. And I'm just dropping in that color and literally just letting it bleed. There, I'm using some gravity, letting those colors bleed together. All right, it's going to be your turn. Go ahead and activate that brush with some water. Use violet or red. Drop in some colors. Drop in some colors. Drop in some colors. Oh, watch this. Look at that bleed. That is what I'm talking about. And I'm still just painting with the water and not just the pigment. All right, guys, you are ready. So with clean brushes, keeping those palettes clean, we're going to fill out the rest of our wax resist painting. Let's go.